All right, it is time. Thank you all for joining today's stretch break. My name is Amber Langford, and I'll be running you through all of your stretches today. As you can see, we have our chairs out. I do recommend using a stationary chair. You can use an office chair, but if you're able to, I would lock those wheels so you don't roll away on me today. For today's stretch break, we are going to begin seated, and we're going to remain seated for this whole 15 minutes. We're going to begin first working on our feet. So I want you to start with your feet nice and flat, sitting nice and upright. I want you to have your top of your head stacked right above your shoulders, shoulders stacked right above your hips. We're in a nice straight line. We're going to take that right foot first. All I want you to do is lift your heel up off the ground, pressing the bottom of your toes down into the ground. If you want to feel more of a stretch, go ahead and slide that foot back underneath your chair. The farther back your foot is, the more pressure we're putting downward, the more toe extension we have, the more of a stretch you're going to feel with this one. I also want you to actively press those ankles forward. You should feel a stretch down the bottom of your foot. If you're not feeling much of a stretch, go ahead and try to slide that foot back a little bit farther underneath that chair, making sure the bottom of your toes are pressing into the ground. We're just going to hold this one for one more deep breath. And exhale, hold in this position. We're just going to roll our toes under. So now the tops of our toes are pressing down to the ground. Ankle is still pressing forward. We are now switching that stretch, working on that toe flexion and stretching out the front of the ankle. Making sure we're still sitting up nice and tall. Actively pulling those shoulders down away from our ears, focusing on that posture. Let's do one more deep breath here. And exhale, relax, dropping that right foot back down to the ground. Switching sides, left heel lifts up off the ground, sliding those toes back underneath the chair, actively pressing that ankle forward and pressing the bottom of our toes down into the ground. Working on that toe extension for this one, feeling that stretch down the bottom of your foot. Let's do two more deep breaths. Good, and rolling those toes under, pressing the tops of our toes down into the ground. Ankle is pressing forward. Switching to the toe flexion and working on stretching out the front of your ankle. Maybe even feeling a little bit of a stretch up into your shin on this one. Let's hold for another 3 breaths. On that last exhale, go ahead and lower that heel back down to the ground. We're going to widen our stance next. We're going to switch and get just a little bit of internal rotation with those hips. Starting with those knees out wide, we're going to drop our knees in towards the center, down towards the ground. Ultimately trying to get those knees to touch in the center, keeping our feet on the ground. You should feel a nice stretch in your hip area. If you want to increase that stretch, widen your stance and then try to pull those knees together once again. And also put some light pressure on the outsides of your thighs here. Let's hold this for just 2 more deep breaths. And bringing those knees back up, go ahead and walk those feet back in. We're going to switch to our seated lunge next. for our seated lunge. If you have no armrests on your chair, I want you to slide over to the right side of your chair, making sure that we at least have our left leg fully on the chair. We're gonna send that right leg back, slowly straightening it out directly behind us. Chest is nice and upright. If you do have an armrest, from the center of your chair, you're just going to swivel both feet over at that left corner and then send that right leg back into that lunge position. We're trying to get that back leg as straight as we can. Ultimate goal is to have it completely straight. That'll give you the biggest stretch down in that hip flexor here. Bracing our hands on top of our thighs. You can also hold on to that armrest if you have it, or the seat of your chair. One more deep breath here. And exhale, let's add some rotation here. We're gonna rotate over that front leg. So we're going to twist to the left. Bring that left arm back. You can grab the back of your chair, that top of the seat rest, or you can hold down at the seat of your chair. Right hand is braced on that left thigh. Doing your best to look over that left shoulder, getting as much rotation as you can here. One more deep breath. And exhale, return back to center. Bringing that right leg back in. We're going to switch sides. So we're either going to scoot over to the left side of our chair, or we're going to take both legs and aim at the right hand corner here. Sending that left leg back this time. Trying to get that left leg as straight as we can. Opening up that left hip flexor. Chest is nice and upright here. Two more deep breaths in this position. Good, now let's add some rotation. Left hand is gonna stay on that right thigh. Right hand is gonna reach back, twisting to the right, looking over that right shoulder here. Getting as much rotation as you can. One more deep breath here. And exhale, return to center. Bringing that left leg in. We're going to shift back towards the center of our chair. The legs are going to be facing forward. We're going to straighten both legs out in front of us, sitting a little bit closer to the edge of our seat. Doing our best to keep our legs as straight as we can. We're going to flex our toes back towards our shins. Reaching our hands down, reaching for our feet, reaching for the ground. Go ahead and let your head and neck relax here. Taking nice deep breaths. One more deep breath. And exhale, slowly lifting that chest back upright. Go ahead and bend those legs, placing your feet flat on the ground. We're going to switch to some upper body next. I want you to lace your fingers together in front of your chest, bringing those elbows out wide. Hands are at shoulder height. We're going to flip our hands so the palms are facing away. From here, we're going to straighten our elbows out, reaching as far forward as you can. Pausing at that end range of motion for one breath. And exhale, return, pulling our hands back in. And then stretching and reaching out. Pulling those shoulder blades apart as we reach out. And then pulling them back together as we bring our arms in. We're going to do 6 of these here today. Let's do one more here. Stretching as far out as you can. Before bringing those hands back in, we're going to place those palms together. Fingers are still laced. From here, let's bring both hands directly up to the ceiling. Stretching as tall as you can. We're going to add a side bend. Bringing both hands over towards the left to start. Making sure that we're still firmly seated on that chair. We're not lifting one hip up off of the seat. One last breath. And exhale, reset. Lifting those hands to the ceiling and then over towards the right. Making that nice C shape with our spine. One more deep breath here. And exhale, return to center. Releasing those fingers and bringing those hands down to your side. From here, we're going to take that right arm, reaching up. We're going to reach for that left shoulder, trying to place your hand back down your back. The left arm is going to come up, grabbing at the elbow. And we're going to pull that right arm as close to your chest as you can. Sitting up nice and tall. One more deep breath. And exhale, release. Switching sides, the left arm comes up, reaching for that right shoulder. Right arm is going to press on that elbow, pulling your left arm as close to your chest as you can. One last breath. And releasing both arms. We're going to get a little bit of rotation through those shoulders, focusing on our external and internal rotation. So I want you to bring your arms up. We're going to have our palms facing down. Hands and elbows are shoulder height. Keeping our arms bent in this position, we're going to bring one hand up and one hand down. 90 degrees, going up and down. And then switch. Other hand comes up, other hand goes down. Alternating between that external and internal rotation. Only going as far as you can, staying in that comfortable range of motion where you feel a little bit of a stretch, but we're not pushing into any pain here. Let's do one more in each direction. And then relaxing on that, bringing those hands back down to your side. We're going to end with just a quick neck stretch here. We're going to do some neck rolls. So we're going to start first sitting up nice and tall. Shoulders are down away from our ears. We're going to bring our chin to our chest. And we're just going to gently roll our right ear to our right shoulder, bringing that chin back to our chest, and then slowly rolling over to that left side, and repeat. Doing some nice gentle rocks side to side. Let's do one more in each direction here. And relaxing out of that, bring your head back to its neutral position. And that is all of the stretching I have for you all today. Thank you so much for joining our stretch break. My name's Amber. I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and see you next time.